ఎందరో మహానుభావులు అందరికీ వందనాలు. వెల్కమ్ బ్యాక్ ఫర్ డే 11 CLEP 2 live webinar show streaming on Facebook as well as live on SCRT official channels. ఇవాళ కొద్దిగా ఆలస్యంగా మేము చింతిస్తున్నాం దానికి, బట్ అన్ని సాంకేతిక సమస్యలు ఓవర్కమ్ చేసుకుని వచ్చాం. Welcome back to the set. Today for this show we have resource person Dr Poornima Ravi, Pokuri Srinivas garu from SCRTs are with us. ఇవాళ మరీ మంచి ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ టాపిక్ ఉంది మనకు. So I request Pokuri Srinivas garu to introduce our resource persons to the new viewers. Already ఒకసారి వచ్చారు. Today's చూద్దాం. Over to
good morning, Andhra Pradesh. We have here Dr. Poornima, the academic consultant and a teacher trainer from Chennai. She is an educator with 8 years of experience in academic year, and she explored Indian education system as a teacher by training as well as researchers, trainer as well as subject experts by profession. Such a great person we have here. Madam, we welcome for this 21st century, global learner. Okay, please continue, ma'am, please.
A very good morning to all the teachers who have joined us this morning. Thank you for your patience. Waiting for the session to begin, I did see a lot of comments. It's truly motivating to see enthusiastic teachers for their active participation. It's remarkable that you had the question as to what was the reason for the delay and the answer to it as well, a technical problem. I'll share my screen now to begin this session. Yes. Welcome to webinar session 11. In today's session, we will explore 21st century skills for learners. We begin the session with 2 questions. Who is a global learner? What are the skills needed to be one? I'm sure all of us have an answer of our own. There is no clear definition to define who a global learner is. However, a global learner is someone who sees the bigger picture beyond the context of India. He learns through cultures, systems, and practices from countries around. He thinks globally. You may recall the session handled by Dr. Shobha, where she touched on being global. It is a mindset where you gain a global perspective on things and contextualize it local surroundings. So what are the skills? Some skills are suggested on your right. Being organizational, motivated, communicating effectively, problem solving, and a whole lot that's mentioned there. But aren't we proud of that in our classroom? Which leads us to the next question. Are our students global? If yes, what are their skills or strengths? You could identify in your classrooms what exactly makes your students strong. The objectives for today's session are to gain awareness on the importance of 21st century skills for learners, explore the scope of 5 skills to integrate the curriculum, reflect on the role of the teacher in promoting 21st century skills. I'm sure growing up, all of us were asked by adults, what profession do you want to choose? Most of us were safe and would say the favorable one, being an engineer, a doctor, a government servant. In the current situation, the landscape for jobs are changing. Let's say, for instance, you have engineers designing games for little children on internet. You have educators becoming leaders of a state. So think about the change in the profession and trends. Jamie Casap, an educational evangelist at Google, known for his product Google Classroom, addressed a few teachers in a conference. He stated, I quote and unquote, don't ask kids what they want to be when they grow up, but what problems do they want to solve. This the conversation from who do I want to work for to what do I need to learn to be able to do that. I'm going to share you a story of one model global learner. You could compare your learners, you could compare yourself to fit into the definition of being a global learner. This is a story of a village far away from yours, but the problems are just the same. Some of the problems that this village had was poverty, farmer debt, poor infrastructural facilities, no schools, no hospitals. Additional problem that this village did face was the problem of milk. This village used to supply eggs. However, the farmers didn't have any buyers. At the end of the day, despite all the hard work, the milk was a waste. In such a situation back in the 1950s, there was one engineer who came. He started the first ever cooperatives in our country. He ensured that all the farmers gave away with their milk with a profit of almost 70%. He sent out this milk to other regions close by, facing shortage of milk supply. He is none other than the milkman of India, Dr. Poornima. He is also known to have started the white revolution across the globe. He made India the world's largest milk producer from being a nation with a deficiency in milk supply. He also created India's largest self-sustaining industry and India's largest rural employment provider, the dairy cooperatives. Most of his system is also called as the Anand Plan. This was replicated in a number of countries, which is why he won the prize, World Food Prize in 1989. Some of the problems that he resolved in this village and across different villages in our country, raising income and credit in homes, creating avenues for nutrition and healthcare, education, gender parity, and leadership. Do we have the potential to create Dr. Poornima in our classroom? I'm sure from your own local context, you would have different role models who are ideal global learners. So I ask again, are our learners global learners? Can they solve our problems that the nation faces and the world faces? Are their skills and strengths? Before which, we need to refer to our classroom environment. As teachers, do we provide enough exposure on the problems that we face today? Does a child know why he's learning trigonometry or what is the purpose of understanding a certain scientific theorem? How can he apply a certain skill in English outside the classroom? That way, collectively, have all the teachers created a generation to solve problems? Before that, let's some of the issues that the entire world is facing. In the current situation of a pandemic, you are aware that there are different leaders who are learning from each other, trying to see if it has worked in a country A, it should work in country B. In short, that is global learning. The United Nations compiled 17 goals. Now, these goals were set by a number of countries. These goals are planned to be achieved by 2030. You might be wondering as to what has with my classroom. If you look closely, there are a number of goals which have subtopics that you and I handle in our classroom. At the moment, this very moment, we are fulfilling goal number 4, education. Look at other goals. Let's say number 15, life on land. Some primary teacher is talking about animals. Wouldn't it be interesting to talk about national animals of different countries? What are the endangered species? How are the zoos like in other countries? Are there any conservation projects in other countries? If you look at a global perspective, it is important for children to be exposed to contexts other than India. Some other subjects such as climate action, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities such as topics of pollution and of governments. So if you have a look at these goals, you might be able to choose 1 or 2 topics that you can cover in your subject. Now, all these goals are only solved through one portal, and that is education. That's why each one of you as a teacher is making history by creating a generation of responsible. I think in my first webinar, I did say that your job as a teacher is no less than that of a superhero. After all, we are creating a generation. So now that I shared the sustainable goals, how do we incorporate it in our subjects? Firstly, you can map and link foundational concepts that are in our curriculum. Make learning a lot more relevant to the present day context. Let's say, for instance, there is a lesson on vaccines. Isn't the current situation a lovely platform to talk about how important vaccines are and why were they first created? You could create projects, student collaborations. For example, a drive to go green, creating an eco-friendly environment in your school. You can also raise awareness on contexts from around the world that is beyond India. So now that we know the purpose of incorporating these areas in our curriculum, what is the toolkit that every student has to have in order to solve these problems? There are 5 skills. They are almost like umbrella terms. We will look at each of these skills. The first one is critical thinking and problem solving. When an individual is thinking about a subject or a matter critically, he does not receive knowledge blindly. Every fact is tested, experimented, and confirmed by him. Even if it is said by the teacher or mentioned in a notebook, it is tested. Some of the sub-skills that critical thinking involves is creating, evaluating, analyzing, applying, understanding, and remembering. If you look at the picture given on your right, there is a child testing out for himself how shadows play an important role in determining time. We had spoke at length on TLM 3, where all these sub-skills are covered in suggested TLMs. The next is leadership opportunities in a school is a wonderful platform to nurture a positive behavior in students. Some of the leadership traits that can be cultivated on an individual level are self-esteem and confidence, responsibility towards self and others, respect for individual contributors, and time management. What can you do in the classroom? Most of y'all in your classroom might have class leaders, club leaders, subject leaders. Have you thought about engaging the student who's a bit shy and timid and not volunteering in these roles? You could try creating leaders for hygiene, creating leaders for maintaining the classroom, maintaining discipline, homework and assignments, as well as notebooks. If you have a different system existing in your classroom, do share in the comment box. You never know, some teacher who's watching the session can benefit from it. Then next, now that you have the roles, what is it that the teacher does too? Firstly, you need to be a role model yourself. Owning up the class, as I said in the webinar 3, being the brand ambassador of your class. Create a democratic way a leader. Set a code of conduct. Excuse me. I remember in school when there were leaders chosen, not many teachers would talk about code of conduct. Children often used leadership roles to dominate over others. They get the limelight. But as adults, it is our responsibility to introduce to them the power that they have to ensure everybody gets an opportunity. So set the code of conduct. Tell them what it is that is expected of them. Provide opportunities for all. Amongst all our teachers, we have our joke that the naughtiest kid would be the best class leader. I'm sure you have your strategies as well. But ensuring that every child, irrespective of how actively he participates, is involved in a leadership role. It could be as small of ensuring everybody gets back into the classroom after a break. And lastly, appreciate efforts and reinforce positive behavior. The next is digital literacy. I have worked with a number of schools which are of low risk environments. They may not be equipped with the best of the best technological resources. But that can't be used as a reason to avoid ensuring that the child is digitally literate. When we speak of digital literacy, what exactly are we looking for in a child? The child should be able to use and explore information from the right sources available online, which means as teachers, it's our homework to ensure that we get resources that are credible and give factual information. It's to be able to communicate and exchange ideas in the form of a text, email, through various other technological tools and devices. India is a fast growing economy, and a number of homes have at least one phone. So rest be assured, even if our classrooms are not well equipped with our technology, the child is definitely aware of devices and what it is to send a message or watch a video online. If not, you could give that opportunity in the classroom. Next, create resources in the form of audios, videos, images, etc., using technological devices. One of the brilliant ripple effect of this webinar series is a number of teachers creating YouTube content on these webinars. The positive aspect of it is it reaches out to a lot more many teachers, giving that power to your students, where they get to collaborate with a school probably away from theirs. Exchange of ideas, project, all that could be done through a digital tool. Next is transact operations, such as purchases, making, filing documents, using technological tools. Now, digital literacy is not specific to a particular age. The last point on transacting operations may be more beneficial for adults. But what is it that your students would require at the primary level? Maybe access to helplines if they are in a situation of a problem. That is a crucial skill that you can think of. Next is interpersonal skills. Skill number 4 and 5 hugely depend on communication, effective communication skills. I have divided it into interpersonal and intrapersonal. Look at what is interpersonal skills. An interpersonal skill involves positive relationship build between fellow colleagues or fellow classmates. You're building a community in your classroom where you're accepting preferences, uniqueness, and identities. There are crucial skills that are required to interact and communicate effectively. What you could do in your classroom is look out for situations where these traits can be built. Conflict resolution. Teaching children how to resolve arguments, how to sort of patch up and forgive is important to develop interpersonal skills. Next is sportsmanship. Ensuring there is healthy competition, ensuring that there is appreciation for effort is vital. You could also improve on manners and etiquette. Raising awareness on acceptable behaviors and also civic sense is crucial for interpersonal skills. And lastly, group participation. Creating equal opportunities to participate in competitions, events, and projects. Now, these areas that I just touched upon overlap with intrapersonal skills. With interpersonal skills, it's between two individuals or individuals in a group. The next skill that we are going to look at is a relationship that an individual has himself. When you have a positive relationship with yourself, you are confident. You are self-accepting of not just what your physical attributes are, but you're also accepting of your failures and successes. These skills are related to an individual's awareness and attitude towards himself. Some of the areas that establish are self-awareness, self-esteem, motivation, patience, adaptability, and willingness. I'm sorry, there is a spelling error in established. You could overlook that. So how can it be developed in primary children? These areas were touched upon in skill 4 as well. Let's say for conflict resolution, as much as it is important for children to resolve conflicts, it is important that they are self-aware to forgive. In spite of a teacher ensuring that there's positive participation, unless the child is self-aware about this to have a positive outlook, sportsmanship will not occur. So you need to raise that awareness. Insurance. Good manners is not just about rules. It goes beyond and touches upon self-care, self-protection. As long as we have the limelight on us, we are very happy. But to be self-aware that it is okay to let others to participate, let others to take on roles is also important in skills. We spoke about 5 skills. Now, if you look at all the 5 skills, individually, they work collaboratively, which is why I said that it is a toolkit. It is a toolkit that the child carries at all. Maybe the focus is a lot more on leadership in a particular situation or more on digital literacy in a particular situation. However, whatever context he's in, all the skills work together. So what is it that teachers can do in their classroom? You could identify areas in your curriculum, the subjects that you handle. Pick 2 to 3 skills based on that topic and concept. Plan your learning outcomes because your learning outcomes should relate to activities and tasks. In this diagram, you see how it grows from 2 to 3 skills and reaches to activities. I have a sample here, a sample lesson where I've chosen two skills such as digital literacy and critical thinking. Now remember that I have highlighted two skills. However, all five skills will be practiced throughout the topic I've chosen is a sustainable development goal number 14, and the area that I'm handling is vision. Now, the sustainable development goal is important because it gives in a global dimension. My learning outcome would be to analyze the concept of water cycle, to explore the causes of water pollution. The activities and tasks for digital literacy is students are made to locate and view a video on pollution. Very often in a search portal such as YouTube itself, it is important that the child is able to filter out the relevant video. For example, YouTube has a kids version of an app as well, where adult material is completely off limits, which is why it is safe to use in your school and ensure that every child gets an opportunity to use the tool to search for information that he or she wants. Watch that short video, they get to see a documentary that showcases a global dimension of water pollution. Not just Ganga, that is a polluted river. There are a number of rivers around the world that are polluted as well, with similar reasons being factory news, etc. After watching the video, maybe I would explain the topic depending on the classroom. And also an experiment based on the video that they will do on a sorting exercise. Now, considering my learners are between grade 3 and grade 4 learners, a sorting exercise where there are two baskets where they have to sort out biodegradable materials, the choice of plastic bottles that go into non-degradable resources. Likewise, leaves and haystacks and other materials into degrades. Ask them why. That will make them think. That will make them confirm with the fact that a biodegradable material goes back to earth, unlike plastic, which takes years on end to go to perish. On the left, you have a YouTube video on water pollution. Now, this is a very short video which takes around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's not going to be time consuming for me. A documentary session would carry a worksheet that's there on your far right, water pollution observations. Now, once they get to see the documentary, which should not run more than 5 to 10 minutes, I'll give them the task of sorting. With the help, once they finish sorting, I give them 2 jars to fill in with the materials that they've collected. You could get a rough idea through the image provided in the center. Think about all the skills that we spoke about, be it digital, be it, let's say, communication and collaboration, through interpersonal and intrapersonal skills, especially when you have a digital tool and everybody wants to have a go at it. Think of leadership in terms of ensuring that there's classroom management, of maintaining silence when the video, giving out the worksheets, collecting them back. So even baby steps make an important contribution towards developing these skills. With this, we end the session. If you have any clarification, I'd be more than happy to clarify them now. But before which, it is important that I quote and unquote Malcolm X. He says, education is the passport to the future, but tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. More power to all you teachers out there. With this, I open the session for Q&A.
Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there is a question from Pushparaj Giddaluru Prakasam district. That most of the methods in English language teaching are suitable to urban students. Actually, the question what he asked was, can the students of the primary classes learn effectively using technology? That is first question. Second question, can any technology teacher in future?
Two very interesting questions. The first question on using technology in young learners' class. Of
Sure.
course, you do not have to have a grand plan that they use different type of tools. But let's just say the example video they get to view. Imagine sitting in a small village where you get to see a view that is happening in UK or in Australia. That is the power of tech. Teachers in primary schools can tap. There are a number of interactive applications as well, such as ebooks for little children to learn words, sight words, and activities based on it. The second one is technology replacing teachers. It is very interesting that I actually thought of it just last evening. In the current situation where we are all about e-learning and there are teachers conducting lessons, now the technology cannot replace the teacher because the teacher has to
వాళ్ళు
be.
కనెక్ట్ చేస్తేనే కదా
మీరు మ్యూట్
So
చేయండి.
I hope it answers your question.
So we have here Nageswara Garu.
Yes, ready.
You can ask questions, sir.
For teachers to use the social media in addressing these 21st century skills.
For teachers, there are a number of
Okay, sir. Okay.
questions. In fact, there are a number of platforms for teachers, such as the Microsoft Educators Community. This community, sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes.
Can
Yeah.
I
Yes.
go ahead answering, sir?
Yeah, you please.
Okay. So first, there are a number of platforms that you can exchange your ideas, not just with teachers in our country, but also to the world. For example, Microsoft's Educator Community. It is a community that shares lesson plans, teach materials, and also question banks. All you have to do is share your topic. You could speak to a government teacher in Istanbul as well. There are a lot of enthusiastic and motivated teachers. So it is Microsoft Educator Community. The next is Harvard Graduate for Education. This community provides a lot of free training material for university itself. You can also meet a number of teachers and share your lesson plans and activities while they share theirs. Likewise, there are also our portals in our country. If you could just go and research around on the internet, you can join any of these communities. Most of them are free of cost, and you also get a lot of exposure as a teacher. I hope it answers your question, sir.
Oh, thank you very much, ma'am. We have Sridhar. You can ask now.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ టు ఎవ్రీబడి. గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ మేడం.
Yeah, person, sir.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam. How can teachers provide digital literacy to the students using existing facilities in rural areas at primary classes and achieve the sustainable goals, madam? Please answer.
Thank you so much for that question, sir. Have you finished your question? Is there anything else, sir?
Answering you, I asked that one if there is a time available.
You please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So basically, even a small video that you could show is a first step towards starting a digital literacy program in your school. In fact, if creating a WhatsApp group with fellow teachers and coming up with a portal such as sharing lessons also is a way of developing your digital literacy skills. We have a session on including technology in your classrooms the day after tomorrow, where we'll talk about what tools, what resources, and how you can plan tasks using technology.
So,
Thank you, madam.
Sridhar Garu, if you have any another question?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
There is another question, sir. Okay. Madam, how can the students at primary level get digital literacy? Because there are less existing facilities. How can the students at primary level get digital literacy in rural
Digital
area?
Thank you for your question.
Digital literacy, as much as there are a number of tools and resources, all you need is maybe just one mobile classroom. It can also be included in schools which has as less as 11 students, and one mobile phone can do the needful. The matter of the tools that you have. Now, with the environment of applications that are available that you can download on your phone, you could use those applications in your classroom. As simple as using the dictionary to search for the word in the dictionary. The dictionary comes with pronunciation and the meaning as well. And the dictionary is not the ones that adults use, the ones that children use. And these are also available free of cost, which are sub pictures and videos, let's say for a word like ball. So even that experience of 5 minutes is more than enough for those skills to be developed. I hope it answers your question, sir.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Madam,
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you.
shall I ask you one more question?
Yes, sir.
See, madam, what do you say about the designing of syllabus to achieve the 21st century skills? Because in our state, normally, in of course, in all the states of our country, syllabuses are, I think syllabuses are more loaded towards reading and writing material. I think the syllabus is to be reduced in order to what you call meet these 21st century skills. What do you say about this, madam?
So honestly, the issues that such as the global issues that we are facing were there even and the syllabus was also pretty much the same. But what you and I as teachers can do is raise awareness through probably gifts from outside India. Like I go back to that example used in the slide, water pollution. A video as small as 3 minutes is more than enough to give a global perspective, rivers from different worlds. If you're talking about flowers, why not talk about national flowers from different countries? If you're talking about, let's say, uh, leadership roles, presidents of different countries, how history by pollution. I think you and I as teachers can facilitate that irrespective of how our textbooks are designed.
Thank you.
I hope it answers your question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Srinivas sir, do you have any questions?
Just a small question from Shivaji from Narsipatnam, Visakha district. What he asked is that how can we elicit the responses from the child according to the intrapersonal skills? Give some possible.
So for intrapersonal skills has to do with a child's understanding of himself and self-awareness. Small opportunities like asking them about how are they feeling today. Are you ready for the classes? Are you happy with your performance in the exam? These are a way that a teacher can build a rapport and know more about the student. Secondly is through observation. Look at every classroom engagement. How is he responding to others? Because if there are a lot of behaviors that are resulted because of the way an individual thinks. Supposing an individual is shy and is scared to participate, it can obviously be seen in a group interaction. So use observation as a key to explore more about how the learner is.
Yeah, sorry, madam. You was disconnected. The last few words we missed.
Okay. So what I said was give them more opportunities to express themselves. They can be cross-curricular activities or even co-curricular activities. Situations such as a sports day also is a very important at the next day that you can ask as to how did you feel with the whole game that you played? Were you happy? And you could ask them. The more they express and talk, the more you about how they feel about themselves.
Yes. Can I ask one question, ma'am? Yeah, usually, so coming to 21st century skills, digital literacy, what you talk about, really very much essential. Okay, on level, people what sometimes they think, if we make allow the students to get means establishing relation with the mobile phones, or allowing them to use mobile phone, or allowing them to stick to TV or internet, they may get converted, diverted to playing games or something may be possible. No, can you suggest any practice technique or something, so that we can use these 21st century skills in a sticking only to the education purpose rather than preventing them for other reasons? Hope you understood
So
my
I'll
point.
answer this question in yes, sir. Yes, thank you so much for the question. Question in two parts. The first part is that fear that children may misuse the technology. So 5 years of experience of training teachers to have digitally equipped classroom. This is the question on almost every classroom that the teacher puts forth to me. This is a debate as age old as science. When the knife or the TV was invented, where people said that it's going to be a lot of negative behaviors. So likewise, if technology is no different. But right, there was resistance for TV. There will be resistance for tools and technology. The second part of this answer would be that is no excuse for not using technology, because we live in an economy. Our jobs are going to be based on technology. You cannot maybe travel to different places, but you can bring those places to your classroom. You can bring them around the world in your classroom. In low resource classrooms, I'm talking about classrooms with as less as just 10 students and 15 students, it has worked. It has worked with just one mobile phone. But what you could do is set rules. Create a safe, even if you're giving YouTube, ensure you're giving a child version of a YouTube. If you're giving a dictionary, the child version, because technology has a child version as well. So it is the responsibility of the teacher or the adult to ensure the environment is safe. And most of these child-friendly have screen time too. Beyond 30 minutes, you cannot actually ensure that it is not misused. We'll touch upon all of these areas the day after tomorrow. I'm hoping that it answered to a certain extent your questions.
Yeah, very beautifully answered, ma'am. Thank you very much, madam. So, any more questions? Then we'll say session. Really, madam, very interesting topic and amazing presentation. The way how you explained it very much impressed us. Hope our Andhra Pradesh teachers make use of all this knowledge, and they can use these things in your classrooms, and they can implement. They can build up these 20th century skills in their students, so that the students can compete with the rest of the world. So the purpose will be served. Yeah, we are very sorry. Initially, at the beginning, we faced a few technical glitches. No, so we tried our best. We are trying to give you video and audio quality. So, for today's session, we humbly convey our thanks to Poornima Madam ji, as well as the other.
Thank you, sir.
One more, Ismail, closing into that, one word to our participants. All teachers have got these credentials. What I found is that only the exam writing is only 69,000. Okay, but the credentials what we gave was nearly 1.5 lakh teachers. So today, please try with your treasury ID without zero. Certainly, it is working. Only a few, I can say that below 100 teachers unable to log in, but all 1.5 lakh teachers can log in. So please, everybody try and write the exam. Thank you.
థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్. సో అందరూ కూడా తప్పనిసరిగా ఎగ్జామ్ తప్పనిసరిగా రాయండి. సో మనం ఏం నేర్చుకున్నాము, ఎంత నేర్చుకున్నాము అనేది మనకు తెలుస్తుంది. సో థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ పూర్ణిమాజీ అండ్ రావు గారు అండ్ శ్రీధర్ గారు ఫర్ కమింగ్ లైవ్ అండ్ ఇంటరాక్టింగ్ విత్ ది రిసోర్స్ పర్సన్. మరి నెక్స్ట్ రేపటి ప్రోగ్రామ్కి వీళ్ళు వెయిట్ చేద్దాం. రేపటికి ఒక మంచి టాపిక్తో మళ్ళీ మీ ముందు ఉంటాం. సో అంతవరకు సెలవా. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్
Okay, sir.
ఫర్ బాయ్ ఫర్ టుడే. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్. బాయ్. నమస్తే.
Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. Thank you to all the teachers.
థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ మేడం.
Thank you, madam.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.